Bum 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 bum. But I think three guys and a bear are not
talk
sure
over
if
it.
they're hitting their cue. And here's Coach Grindor.
Yep.
We're talking
All
about
right,
The
guys.
Godfather
Thank you
before.
for watching. Football's over. This has been
I
Three
can't
Guys
wait
and a
to
Bear.
see everybody next year in the off season.
We'll see you next year.
That was
guys.
a
That's
great
it.
off season.
There's
Yep.
nothing
How did we
else.
get the bad ending? We already had a bad year.
We knew it was
What's-
coming.
As
We
bad
knew it
as
was
side
happening.
quest did we forget?
Yeah. I think we all said at some point that this is
we-
exactly what's gonna happen.
We forgot one
Yeah.
collectible in like fucking some random ass city,
Now I
like
gotta watch
Boise
Taylor
or some
Swift in the
shit.
Super Bowl. God damn it!
And because of that, we get the bad ending.
I did
Yep.
see there's something that Taylor Swift tells NFL broadcast cameras to go away, please. So even
Yeah.
she doesn't
She
want
honestly like is like, can you leave me alone? Like I
Yeah.
knowing her,
Dude, I'd be
she's
pissed.
probably like, leave me alone. I told you I wasn't gonna do your stupid halftime
I'm
show.
already
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. You think I've got
Yeah.
enough attention on me?
it. Yeah.
No, but like honestly though, from her perspective, I don't know. I would probably be pretty pissed. They're
Yeah.
NFL are clearly
Annoying
marketing
as
off
hell.
of her image,
Yeah.
right?
She's not
She ain't
making
doing
anything from
about
it.
it.
She-
She's
yeah,
going to the
they're-
games. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not paying her fucking anything for
Fuck
that.
yeah.
So
Like
But-
that's I don't want to get into this immediately, but I also kind of want to.
Okay.
Like there's a legitimate possibility that the NFL had something to do with guiding the Chiefs' way into the Super Bowl
Yeah.
due to the immense popularity boost that would result from Taylor Swift attending the Super Bowl. Is
Oh,
this
yeah.
not
I'm
true?
gonna be honest. Like at this point, they didn't. Even if they did, I don't think I care anymore because they didn't.
No,
need
I
to.
don't either. It's
Yeah.
just that, like,
They
I
didn't,
feel like it's
they did honestly they didn't need to. I
Yeah.
said this 2 weeks ago. I'll say it again. This is the year of the king of the pile of shit. Whoever wins this year, you are on top of a pile of garbage and feces. You are the king of the
Yeah.
worst football season of all time. So congrats, I guess.
I did see
But-
some people were just like, dude, yeah, the refs. And I was like, you guys watch like last year? Like that was maybe worse.
Yeah, no. This year, I'm like at the start of the year, I was like, oh fuck this shit. But like it kind of mellowed out, and even this playoffs, I haven't really like seen anything for the Chiefs specifically. Like it was
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
year, guys.
no,
last
like-
year was awful.
Where they let them
Remember,
replay. Remember they replayed third down?
Yeah. What the fuck?
yeah, that was
We
ridiculous.
literally
This-
just
this
got
one
like,
was
wait,
just,
no, that play didn't count, guys.
Yeah.
Wait, do it again.
I don't think I've seen any. They haven't done that at all this year. Like I haven't seen
No,
that happen
no,
at all. Like
No.
that was.
I think they realized that one pissed people off too much.
That one
yeah.
was bad.
I recognize that it just sounds so conspiratorial, but I'm not even like trying to make an impassioned plea here. I'm just like, it's a pretty high likelihood that something like that happened,
a
or at least there was
distinct
like a
possibility.
conversation about it, you know?
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
be silly to assume that they wouldn't at least think of it, but I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like I said, I don't. If they had any of that shit in their back pocket, they really didn't need to pull it out.
Yeah,
'cause,
no, not
really
at all.
didn't seem like it.
Like
yeah.
it's not the NFL's fault. The Ravens decided to just unless
Yep.
they were like, "Hey guys, sorry, you have to play bad on purpose." Like,
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
millions of dollars. You don't get to win this year. Like otherwise,
no,
yeah.
that's-
just-
The,
I don't-
yeah,
I
the
don't
only
think so.
bad call on that game was the late no call against
Right.
the Chiefs, which like that should have went the other way. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but like I don't think that's the thing that lost them the game.
No, and I
Yeah.
agree. I don't think there's any basis for it. It's just
Yeah.
like it's just something I
But I did-
figured
but yeah,
would
no,
be
I
brought
mean,
up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they. I mean, I'm sure at the very least they're giving support and whatnot to the Chiefs in ways that they don't give to other teams. With,
well, they do that to
media
just
coverage
teams
and
with
stuff.
good
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Yeah, any
anyway.
team
That's
that
not a
has a good
Chiefs thing.
quarterback or is
Teams that
good.
make state farm ads out of their QBs, they're more
Yeah.
than welcome to, take a couple extra steps over the line usually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, listen, I had a quarterback on my team that was a State Farm quarterback, and they did get some calls a
Yeah.
good amount of
Yeah.
time. All right. I'm just saying, it happened, but
Yep.
it's just because
They make money. That's what they. That's
make
what,
money.
That's the reason they make money. That's the
Yeah.
reason, and it's It's understandable from the NFL's
Yeah.
perspective, but you know,
Wonderful
Yeah.
irony that I decided to use the phrase toes over the line too in the Chiefs.
yeah. It's funny because Tony hasn't even played a playoff. I think that's been the
Yeah,
difference.
he's like been a non-factor.
They
Yeah.
literally are just like, yeah, he's out with something, and then he like had an Instagram thing where he's like, I'm not injured, and it's like, dude, we know. we know you're
No.
just bad.
Actually, no, okay. So in this case, it's actually because he had a daughter.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Good
why he
for
was
him.
out. Yeah.
Well, that's good. There you go. You got a
Yeah.
good reason.
Mhm.
Oh,
Let's
I-
talk
I-
about
let's talk about stuff. Sure.
let's talk about
Sure.
stuff. Let's talk about
Stuff
coordinators.
and things.
Why not?
Oh yeah.
So first things first, we'll start with my good news, which was Joe Barry is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woo!
Bye bye, Barry.
Yep. And we haven't decided yet, but we are interviewing the Broncos secondary guy. It seems like he's pretty good. Like, all right, that sounds good. Just, anybody that isn't Matt Patricia or like Brandon Staley. Anybody else.
Yeah, don't hire people who don't do a good job.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
generally like a pretty good
A
but-
bold
right, guys?
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
Broncos
okay,
secondary.
Cool. I'm glad
that's
we
pretty
agree
good.
with
So I'm
that.
like, all
don't
right.
Yeah.
don't hire someone who sucks. Okay.
So I'm happy about that. Also,
I was
apparently,
confused.
Joe Barry, how everybody was like, dude, he's doing really well at the end of the year. Apparently, Matt LaFleur was just like taking control, and that's why. So that checks out. Then we'll jump right over to Apollo with the Pittsburgh Steelers, very likely to sign Arthur Smith.
Wow.
Hmm. Here's the deal. Let me explain this in the order of events that occurred.
All right.
Yesterday, I was talking to my chat about how my like view of football and my enjoyment of football has been like irreparably, permanently damaged by this entire season, just in general. Like it's just a bad season into a bad playoffs into the bad ending, the worst, most boring Super Bowl imaginable.
Yeah.
Big time.
And that was before today, which was when the Steelers apparently are going to sign Arthur Smith. So I don't know, like what I'm like next year, maybe I pull a Sinvicta and just say fuck it. Like I don't like need to worry about this year.
We'll just have rotating fucking years for that.
Right,
rotating
yeah.
years.
Yeah, like
Yeah. When do I get one?
You're overdue, I think.
Yeah,
Brad.
yeah.
what's
you are
insane
overdue.
to me is
Next
like
year when Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles on the first play, that's when
Right,
you
yeah,
get your
that's-
fucking
yeah.
year.
why already? Like it's January still. Did we this was a hot commodity. Arthur Smith was like he was flying off the shelves. We had to get him right now. We couldn't interview a few more people.
I hear there's a
And-
few hot targets on the market right now.
Like I'm just so confused as to like why this needed to happen now. Like, oh
Well,
no, we don't get Arthur Smith. Like we
Realistically,
got to
he
get him
probably
quick.
does have offers because he just came off a head coaching role. So
He
usually,
shouldn't.
yeah, but he probably does.
I mean, most
So-
head coaches end up getting a coordinator spot
Yeah, I
somewhere.
don't know.
That's
Yeah.
wild to me. That's wild to me because like I feel like maybe there are some really specific scenarios where there's a coordinator who's really good at coordinating but just bad at coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's like one of those really obvious scenarios. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Arthur Smith." Do you guys know who he used to coordinate for?
The
Titans.
Titans, right?
The Titans, yeah, like the thrilling, extremely good Titans. They've been great the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that
Like-
one year they were
Well,
pretty good.
They
The
were
years that
and-
he was there, they went to the playoffs. Like
That was his
yeah.
resume year.
But let's put a giant fucking astronomically sized asterisk on that and say that
Yeah.
was basically the prime of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like
It wasn't
oh,
hard
man,
to.
It must be really hard to coordinate a guy who can run through 12 dudes
Just
at
better
once.
than everybody.
Like I don't know. Like I feel like that might be make you look a little bit better than you actually are. And Tannehill wasn't awful back then. Like he was never great, but like that was back when Tannehill was at least like not terrible.
Serviceable.
Mm.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I don't understand where the hubbub is about making sure you got to sign Arthur. But I don't know, dude. This is legit. To me, one of the worst decisions they could have made. I like this dude is an offensive minded guy and yet you're not going to look at what happened to Atlanta this year and be like, hey, we don't want that. Like, I know Desmond Ridder was bad.
I was gonna
but-
say it's kind of an opposite Derrick Henry situation in Atlanta this year, where like, look at their offense and what do you really expect to do with it? You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing was everyone was expecting good things from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And like, again, like he was the one trotting out Desmond Ridder over and over again. Like
Yeah, that's
in
true.
week like 13,
Well, I
when
mean,
he was obviously bad in like week 4. They
It
had Heineke.
depends. That like for instance at the Jets, I don't know how much of Zach Wilson staying in was Robert Saleh or how much of it was Woody Johnson, right?
I'm
like you never
pretty
know
sure
behind the
it was
scenes.
Arthur Smith because he also was the one that was just like, we're not gonna use Bijan Robinson. You know, this guy that we drafted number 1 and is a fucking freak of nature.
Fucking lit it up in the first half of the year.
Let's
Yeah.
not do that. And you know, like let's just fucking.
I
don't
was
know,
looking
run
at BJ
Tyler Algier
Robinson's stats to see if that maybe is like a good indicator, and like they're good. Like he had a good first year. It's almost 1,000 yards, 976 and 4 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per attempt. But
just-
yeah.
I don't, it feels like a weirdly safe hire and yet somehow
Yeah.
still unsafe and bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there is no risk here, and yet also it feels like it's guaranteed to be mid at best.
Your floor and your ceiling are very close together.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like this is just exactly what I don't want. This is the Steelers again. Like, oh great, we're gonna get maybe we'll get 9 wins next year. Maybe we'll get 1 less.
You're gonna be above
Because-
500. That's for damn sure, dude.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
ridiculous, man. Like,
It's funny
Yeah.
because I was reading people and they're like, well, like, yeah, he had like a system and stuff, but like, you know, he's going to Pittsburgh. And then everyone was like, dude, he just came from a place where he couldn't develop a quarterback. And now he's going to a team where he needs to develop a quarterback.
Yeah.
it gets so much worse too, because I saw another thing that was like the Steelers are likely signing Arthur Smith because they want to focus on the run game because they don't trust their quarterbacks right now. And I'm like, okay, hold on. So instead of making some kind of move or effort to change the quarterback situation, if you don't trust your quarterbacks, you're going to go on the run game, which has provably like not worked very well unless you have a really good coordinator or a freak of nature running back, and we'd have neither of
Good
those
O-line.
things.
Yeah.
And and a good. Well, we're probably going to fix the O-line issue in the draft. I mean, I would hope so.
Mm.
But it's to me it's a worst case scenario, and I can't look. I was already uncertain about what next year was going to look like. Now I'm certain what next year is going to look like. This is a 9-win maximum team, which is like not going to be good enough to either get into the playoffs or even win. It's going to be like either just miss the playoffs or lose 7th seed. That's it. That's all we got. That's all I can hope for. Why would I want to watch that?
Do you think they go QB first round?
No, not if they
Yeah.
got Arthur Smith. Why would they go QB now?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's crazy to me is that like I still want to hope that Kenny Pickett's good. Like again,
Mhm.
I am upset that he didn't get to finish the year out and we didn't get to learn more. I still think he deserves a few more games, but like it kind of sucks to spend a whole offseason to give a guy a few games.
Yeah.
You know, like that feels like a waste. So it's
Oh,
this-
believe me, I know.
that I don't blame on the Steelers is like, I mean, that's a tough decision and difficult to deal with. So I that I'm not faulting them for, but I don't like this route of like, let's just not take any fucking chances. We're just gonna play it as boring and dumb as possible. And yeah, here we go. That's the Steelers motto. Here we go. And here we go.
We go.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, we also had the Chargers officially signing Jim Harbaugh. So
yeah.
That's
I
a
actually
thing.
like the Chargers' chances next year.
I agree. I mean, they're
Yeah.
definitely going to improve. He's definitely going to
But-
improve everything.
But here we go again, expecting
yeah.
things from the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I do not believe in this team anymore. Until I see them actually
Yeah.
perform up to their expectation, I don't buy it.
Yeah, believe it when we see it because it's been
Although-
too often.
It is Jim Harbaugh, and guess who wasn't in the coaching race this year? Yeah.
He
Well,
wouldn't have
Well,
went to the Jets.
Well, wait a minute. There's other news because if you fire your coach this year, Rob, the Lions guy stayed. He's deceased
Oh, yeah.
again.
Yeah, so you get him
Okay.
next
All
year.
right.
So
That would be good.
and he seems fucking like a super genius. I love
Yeah.
watch. This is, I mean, we're gonna get to the game, and I love watching the Lions. Man, they're just so fun.
They are
Yeah.
very fun. Sometimes to their own detriment, but they are very
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot to say about the narrative around fourth down decisions.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we'll get to that.
We got the Panthers hiring their new head coach, Dave Canales. Canales? I don't know how you say his name, but he seems pretty good. He was the guy that helped Geno Smith get comeback player of the year, and he also
okay.
was in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield. So he's got like a track record going.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
that's going to be very good for Bryce Young. Imagine hiring someone like this for your young quarterback to learn with. That'd be crazy.
That I
Yeah.
mean, good. Yeah, no good for Bryce though. That seems like maybe a piece that he desperately needs right now.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
actual like good hire by the Panthers, I think. Good
Yeah,
job,
I mean,
Panthers.
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's he's been coaching in the NFL since 2010.
Oh wow.
Is
Yeah.
Seahawks wide receivers coach.
I can't bring myself to have any optimism for the Panthers yet. Let's wait until maybe,
Yeah.
9 months from now for that.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
was their wide receiver coach for 7 years, then quarterback coach, then passing game coordinator, then quarterback coach again. That was with Geno Smith's first year.
Mhm.
And then offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers this year. And then
Yeah.
now he's a coach. So
That's that. By the way, this is also what I mean about defensive coaches and why it's a bad idea to have a defensive minded head coach these days. Is the Bucks weren't even that great this year. I mean, they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. So I mean, but like, even still, like their record is pretty bad, and they still got their OC poached after
Yeah.
a year. You know,
yep.
like that's. So if you have a good offense with a defensive coach, well, good luck keeping him more than a single year before another team goes and makes him a head coach.
Yeah. And then you have to their quarterback, and everybody's got to learn a new system when the new guy gets there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, speaking of that, Raheem Morris signing with the Falcons, and Sinvicta does not like Raheem Morris as he was with the Buccaneers, and he said he's one of his least favorite coaches. So there you go, Falcons.
He's the coach that I saw an interview of years ago saying that he learned basic NFL strategy stuff from playing Madden.
Well,
Didn't we all?
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
I know most of my football knowledge actually from like my college days of playing Madden.
Yeah. He's been around for a while. 2002. He
Yeah.
was with the Buccaneers, and then he went to Kansas State at one point. He went to Washington, Atlanta. Then he was the interim head coach in Atlanta. And then he went to the Rams for their defensive coordinator position the last couple of years, and now he's back to Atlanta. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad hire, but I don't think it's, a great one. Nobody's like, yes, thank
Yeah.
God we got Raheem Morris. So, I mean, maybe it'll turn out all right, but he also hired Zach Robinson as his offensive coordinator. I don't know who that is, but apparently he learned under Sean McVay. So there you go. That's all you
Yeah.
really need to know.
Mhm.
And then all of that leads to the most probably surprising news of all, which is Belichick probably not coaching next year.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
seems like he's
right,
going to take
yeah.
the year off. So,
I think that's a good choice for him too, potentially, because I'm glad that he's thinking in the direction that he needs to go to the right place. He needs to go to a place that already has some firepower because he's not that young,
yeah.
and
No,
he
it's-
needs to be able to let a good offense work. Like the Chargers would have been actually a really good spot for him,
Yeah.
but
I
You
mean, there'll be plenty more coaching jobs next
Yeah.
year, so
Yeah.
I'll just wait for those.
there always are. Yeah.
Yep.
There's some speculation about him getting into TV as well, which would be interesting because
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would be. I don't know how he'd do on TV, but
it would be weird. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
immediately you just don't really see him as a television personality. But if you've ever watched like there's a famous YouTube clip of him talking for about 10 to 11 minutes about the long snapper position when
mhm.
somebody asked him about it. Like, if you get him talking about stuff that he is actually passionate about, like, like in-depth football conversation, he's great
Yeah.
at it. Like, he's a fucking encyclopedia of
I would
football
love that
knowledge.
if they, but that's the thing, is that they are absolutely not going to use him that way.
No,
May-
not at all.
Maybe like the first year, like
Yeah.
Tony Romo. But
Exactly.
Then
No,
after
yeah,
that,
yeah. I
and
was gonna use Tony as an example. Like, they're gonna follow
Yeah.
that mold up until they forget how to actually properly utilize it, and then just completely ruin it.
the NFL is completely averse to shrinking their audience in any way. That means that they cannot give any sort of deep strategic detail. It's going to be Bill Belichick being like, I'm taking the Vikings here because I think they've got a good team and it's strong.
And I'm like, if I'm Bill Belichick, I don't know why the hell I would be interested in that anyway. Like,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
would you want to be on TV? Just be done. Just like go out in a blaze of glory. You're one of the greatest fucking coaches of all time. It's like, why do you need to keep going? Why go to a different team?
I mean,
You know
on
who
the
is
other
going to be on
hand,
TV next year?
who?
Tom Brady.
Yeah,
right,
right.
yeah.
He's
True.
taking
Interesting.
over Greg
Yeah.
Olson's spot.
Dude,
which, thank
imagine
God.
Brady and Belichick on a cast together.
That would be
man.
hilarious.
That would
That
be
would be
funny.
great.
But
They'd be like,
I mean,
fucking hated you all.
Oh,
Oh,
We
Oh.
we all went robot for a second there, right?
oh, I
Yeah.
I think
thought my
everybody-
joke was that bad.
No.
Yeah.
That was just a weird Discord moment.
yeah,
It
the
did go
end of your
red.
joke went. Meow.
Bill Belichick might want to just become the all-time winning coach, though, because he's like pretty close.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
really?
other
Are we
thing.
losing to Andy
Yeah,
Reid
very
at this
close.
rate?
Yeah,
Maybe.
'cause
Yeah,
right
I mean, especially
now-
long term, he would. But
Oh yeah, he's 14 away from Shula. I didn't realize that.
Mhm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
yeah,
So he,
one good season.
one
Yeah.
good season, maybe 2 mediocre
Probably 2.
seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, he can get there. So I think he probably would want that. I think.
yeah.
So
I think so,
he would
too.
come back
Yeah.
at some point.
But I don't see him as a TV personality. But I will say, in his defense of doing the TV thing, depending on what kind of gig he gets, he might work once a week and get paid like $50 million a year. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it's hard to
bag,
say
dude.
no to that. Really.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
So we also had the Eagles hire Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. I mean, he's
Ooh.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
on you, Eagles. Who cares?
Yep. Cool. He was actually the Dolphins DC this past year. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And they hired Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator, former Cowboy and Charger offensive coordinator. So,
I remember Kellen Moore playing.
yep. And now he's calling Philadelphia plays. And
We're getting to that age now.
Yep. And I believe that's all the coaching news as of right now. So let's hop into the games that occurred.
Games that occur.
Games that occurred.
They happened.
First, we had the Chiefs Ravens.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I only watched highlights of this one.
Yeah. I mean,
It
Yeah.
was bad.
it was
It was
pretty
a-
bad, honestly.
Lamar Jackson caught his
Well-
pass and ran.
That was actually really
That
fucking
was
cool.
one of the
It was
coolest
pretty cool.
things I've ever fucking
Yeah,
seen.
that was actually incredible. Like it's so
He
sad
nearly
that was in a
took
losing
that to the
performance.
house too,
He
which
did,
would have
yeah.
been the all-time greatest NFL clip
That would have been
in
amazing.
history. Like that
A
would have-
legal pass to yourself for a touchdown.
would
Yeah.
be
That-
incredible. Imagine the fantasy points. Holy
Oh
shit!
God! Yeah.
But instead, he threw a end zone interception, and then Zay Flowers fumbled right before the end zone, and that was pretty
There's
much
a
it.
Real comedy errors, unfortunately, in that game.
Yeah, too many errors.
By
too
the
many
way,
moves.
I hate that I was a little prophetic last week because I said the only way to beat the Ravens is to get up early, get more than one score ahead before the half.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the Chiefs did. And like you saw what the Ravens, they can't run their thing unless it's a close game, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
it needs to be close so that they can grind you over time.
They
But
are
if they
the,
don't-
the blue deck of the NFL.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. That is very accurate, actually. Yeah, it is a stall team. They beat you in the fourth quarter, but if it's too far behind, then and it wasn't even just like, oh, Lamar Jackson couldn't do it. It's like the rest of their offense just fucking kept fucking up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one did anything.
Yeah.
Like no, not a single play. Like Zay Flowers was the only one that did anything, but he also did so much not thing that it was bad. Like it
Yeah.
canceled out.
It did
Yeah.
cancel out. And then they just the defense was okay.
Yeah, that was really disappointing too. You would have thought the Ravens D would have done a better job here, especially to what should be a pretty depleted Chiefs team, right?
Right. Well,
this
the thing is,
this was unfortunately the Kelsey Mahomes show, though, man. And
It always
it
is.
continues
It's
to be.
like-
Yeah.
it's literally every it's literally the like Brady Gronkowski thing. It's like
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah.
stop him. It's like
Yeah.
and like if they lost Travis Kelsey, like this team would fall apart.
Absolutely.
Probably, yeah.
In fact,
although
I think
Pat
the
Mahomes
games
is still incredibly good, so I mean,
he
it
is,
might
but the
be one of
games
those things.
that they lost this year, I think Kelsey didn't even play or he was hurt
yeah,
for a lot of that. Like he is this team because otherwise he's got to throw to all these random dudes. I guess Rashee Rice is good, but like you have
No,
to count on these other guys to actually catch more than like 3 passes.
Mhm.
Kelsey deserves a ton of credit, man. Like,
True.
I don't want to say it, but yeah, he's so fucking good. Like,
He is really good.
The connection with Mahomes specifically is unreal, and the
Mhm.
amount of times that Mahomes buys time in the pocket dancing around only to at the last minute find Kelsey, who somehow has to like stretch across his own body to grab the catch at like a
Mhm.
full extension of his arms. Like he does that shit routinely.
Yep.
That is remarkable. That is a unique talent that we don't really talk about a lot because we don't want to. But
Yeah.
like, he's really fucking good, man.
I mean, and similarly, Mahomes had a great throwing play in this game too. Remember the one where he's like running around for like 20 seconds and then they finally get him, and as he's falling, lobs it like 40 yards down the field to Kelsey, I think, who catches it like over the. I mean, it's just like, how do you beat that?
They're backyard football, dude. And
Yeah.
it's like you can't beat that because it's improvised. It's not something you
Yeah.
prepare for. It just happens in the moment, and there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do about it when their connection is just so much stronger than anything you can defend against.
Mm-hmm. It's actually an anime storyline.
It is.
Like,
It's fucking ridiculous. Like they should not be able to pull off the shit they do. They do some protagonist bullshit, and all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
Mahomes was perfect to start this game. He was like
Yeah.
12 of 12 or something. Like it was ridiculous.
He broke the
Mhm.
record, I think, too, right? Of the perfect passing to start the game of a playoff
Well,
game.
I don't know.
They were talking about it in the
far
game.
too many Chiefs compliments that I'm prepared to shout.
Yeah. Let's
So-
bring it back down to earth a little bit. The Chiefs did not score in the second half and
Yeah.
proceeded to
Yeah.
still win
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah.
Just to go to show how much the Ravens lost. Like, I don't even think the Chiefs played bad. I don't want to say, oh, the Chiefs played
Yeah.
bad, they still won. They played fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but like the Ravens literally they drove down the field like 3 fucking times and
Mhm.
could not score on all 3 of those because of just
Yep.
the most dumb shit, like the fumble, the interception.
Mhm.
Like, the Ravens should have won this game. I'm happy they lost. It was the only joy I got out of the whole week. Really, was
Yeah.
the Ravens collapsing and me finally getting to go. Finally, my last narrative. I closed the book slowly.
Touching your fingers together like the villain of the movie.
A good.
I mean, you
season
have one
where I
more
was-
dagger coming because
never
Lamar's probably
wrong.
winning MVP too.
That's true. Yeah, it's coming.
Well, I mean that's dumb, but what can you do? No, the bigger dagger is TJ Watt losing defensive player
Oh,
to Myles
right.
Garrett,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
after those
yeah.
fucking playoff games, dude. My God.
They really ought to consider that.
TJ Watt and Myles Garrett had the same playoff effect, and one of them didn't play.
Yeah.
It's
It's a trophy with his name scratched out roughly at the bottom. half of the
Yeah,
playoff
no, but
performance.
like Dude, I'm with you guys. I'm going full villain mode. Like I'm rooting for the Chiefs. Like straight up. Like
Wow.
Goddamn,
Wow. I am not.
dog shit season. Like dog deserves a dog shit ending. Give it to him again. Like it's what everyone deserves. If you're gonna let this team fucking fall into the Super Bowl again, like we throw a frozen Miami at them. We give them the Bills, which is the only team they can consistently beat forever. And then the Ravens decide to literally implode. Like
To be fair, you did say the
literally
Ravens
implode.
were going to implode weeks
Yeah,
ago.
no,
Yeah.
I know, and they did. But like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is what everyone deserves. They deserve to have the Chiefs win again.
Actually,
Like,
you know, now that you mention that, I feel like Apollo, you might have cursed this to happen. This
Maybe.
might be. This might be.
I
I
your
can tell you
doing.
guys,
Wow.
there is some good news here. All right.
Mm.
If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I was told that Tucker Carlson said he was going to kill himself. So I'm actually a Chiefs fan now, like 100%. Like that's huge for me. Like
I came out of nowhere.
I just it's like you can find good in some of the darkest situations. Truly.
Yeah, no,
Fuck, man.
I actually was thinking about this, so I can see the here's how the Lombardi ceremony is going to go. So Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, they're all going to walk up to the podium where Taylor Swift is going to be holding the Lombardi trophy to hand to them, and they do their thing. They
Break out into
they
song.
kiss the Lombardi, right, and then they go to Andy Reid to talk to him, but then they have to cut him off because Travis Kelce has a surprise of his own to give to Taylor Swift. And he gets down on one knee and hands her his Super Bowl
Yes.
52 ring to Taylor Swift and puts it on her finger live on national television while the confetti's falling. And everyone cheers.
Oh, they're totally gonna have Taylor Swift up on the damn like
Oh,
Lombardi podium,
100%. Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. No, there's no way that she's not.
And then
Like
they
I said,
cut to
at
like a
this point, I'm-
49er guy just crying with a towel over his head.
Poor George Kittle, man. Like, I actually like George Kittle,
Yeah.
but like, sorry, man, you got to lose again.
Oh man, dude, my face
Oh.
hurts. This is like back to back. two
I'm
of the
telling you, like,
funniest
there's a-
fucking things I've heard on this show. ever.
There's a like a peaceful nature that's fallen over me where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna root for the bad guys now. Like maybe that's what I'm missing.
Maybe
like,
it is. No, it's a
Well,
crazy
I
stat.
know-
Nice.
I don't
also-
want to get too political, so I'll just like mention it because it's funny, and then we can move on. But like, apparently,
You
right
crossed
wing
that threshold.
right wing
Right, yeah.
people. Well, he said that. Like I don't.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what he
yes.
said.
You just
Yeah.
A lot of right wing people on Twitter are full on conspiracy that this is like a Taylor Swift like is going to
Oh my
like
God,
support Joe Biden on
Oh,
during
right,
the Super
yeah,
Bowl.
I did see that.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's too funny now.
That
Now
is
it's
actually very
hilarious.
funny.
There's your problem.
So,
You're
like-
reading Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like go
Should've added
Chiefs.
that, yeah.
Let's go. I love Mahomes. I love State Farm.
Did you know that Patrick Mahomes now has as many playoff wins as Peyton Manning?
That's crazy.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually an insane statistic.
So, I mean, look, I was resisting it throughout the year, but like, yeah, it's official. It's Patriots too.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it
this
is.
seals
Yep.
it. Like I
This
was already
is-
feeling that last year, but this year
Yeah.
it's 100%.
Yeah.
And I said this in the football Discord, like back to depresso mode here. Like we've gone like as an AFC fan, like if you're like an AFC team, you have
Yeah.
sat here and you have watched essentially like 3-ish, mainly 2, but like 3-ish like
Yeah.
teams win forever. It's been
Yep.
the Patriots, it's been the Colts to like an
Colts.
extent,
Yeah.
and then the Chiefs, and then a little bit of Steelers mixed in there too. Like
Mm.
that's it for like 20 years. It's been that way for 20 years.
Well, dude,
Yep.
all I remember of 2000 to 2010 is Patriots Colts. Like
Yep.
that was the extent of the AFC.
Like-
And then the Pats literally went to the AFC Championship game for like 9 straight years or something like
Straight,
that.
straight
right?
up, like who like AFC teams that have won the Super Bowl that aren't those teams that I listed. It's like Ravens 1 year,
Mhm.
like the Bengals went a couple of years
Right.
ago.
Yeah, they went a couple years
Right.
ago.
yeah.
Who the fuck else?
I don't know.
I don't think
Look
there's
up
a
Super Bowl
winners.
It was the Broncos, but that was Peyton Manning. So like, does that
Yeah.
Right,
that still
that's-
kind of
No,
count
yeah,
as
that's
Colts?
Peyton still in
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
Yeah, that's just kind of like Colts too. So then, like, who else in the last
who
20
was it?
years?
It's been you're right. Like it's been completely
Um,
suffocated by 3 or 4
uh,
guys.
None of these. No, I'm
Yep.
looking at the teams. None of these teams.
The 2002, we had the Raiders.
That's the Raiders.
That was
right?
it.
Yeah.
We have to go back to 2002, man.
That's
I
absurd.
remember that
Yeah.
game. I was 11.
Yeah.
Like,
And the
Chiefs fans,
Titans,
you
the
have to-
Titans.
22 years.
2000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like so straight up, like Chiefs fans, this is not just pure Chiefs hatred. This is 2 decades of AFC hatred of all of these teams, like
Yeah.
coming together.
Dude, you know what's
I
even
guess I should feel
crazier?
lucky as a Steelers fan to have gotten a couple in there.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes, you should.
If you see the Raiders and the Titans mixed in there, 99 and 2002, but still 2001
Yeah.
was Patriots, 2000 was Ravens, 97, 98 was Denver, who was still there in like the mid 2000s with Peyton Manning, and then Patriots 96 when they lost to the Packers, and then Steelers 95.
It
Prior
goes
to that,
so
it's like-
far.
It goes
Chargers,
so far.
Chargers, Bills when they lost all those Super Bowls in a row.
We're going back to the
Yeah.
Bills
The
dynasty.
1990s.
Yeah.
And then it's
The
Broncos
Billy
again.
Bills.
Then it's Broncos again. Bengals, who have been there.
Yep.
Broncos, Patriots. 85.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
This is actually
Like-
insane.
Like the teams that we're not mentioning now, some of them didn't exist back then as well. Like this was
Yeah.
before the
Several of them.
But like you have like, I mean, I guess Miami was pretty hot back in the day. I mean, they only won one
Yeah.
though. How many did they win with
They won
Marino?
0 with
Marino
Marino.
didn't win. Oh,
Yeah, he
wow,
didn't
that's
win.
Single
fucking
one.
insane.
Yeah.
Did he
Not a
even go to
single
one?
Super Bowl.
No, I don't
Uh,
think he did.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe one. I think he maybe went to one early in his career.
you're
Actually, yeah, I
essentially-
think he might have. I think you're right.
You're essentially looking at the Browns, Raiders, Chargers, Titans,
just one.
Jags, Texans, Jets, Dolphins, and
Yep.
Bills, who have all just been spectators for like 25 years, essentially.
Yeah,
Yep.
feels great. There was 2009 and 2010 when we both see, because this is the thing, is as a fan of one of the teams that is not the 3 royal teams, you have to basically, if you're going to get through the playoffs, you have to fight the final boss 3 times in a row, right? So like in 2009 we had to go through the Steelers and the Colts, right, or something like that, and then we managed to beat the Steelers, haha, and then lost in the championship. And the same thing the other year. One year we knocked the Patriots out of the playoffs, which felt amazing,
And then you lost the
lost.
Steelers.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like there's no winning, man. Like you can't get past these fucking. You have to it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
It's interesting to me that this is kind of an NFL unique thing, isn't it? Like, I
Well,
don't
not even.
think-
This is an AFC unique
Yeah,
thing. The NFC is
yeah.
completely
Imagine
different.
being in the
all
AFC,
of these fucking
dude.
teams.
Thank God we're
in NFC, literally, like all of these teams have been to the Super Bowl, and they trade pretty consistently. But
Yeah.
you have like the Packers, kind of, and the Niners, who have been good
Yeah.
for like a decent amount. But
Yeah.
otherwise, all these teams except Dallas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And the
all of these
Cards.
teams in the last the Cards went. They lost the
Yeah.
Steelers, but they
Yeah.
went.
Giants.
I
You got
just
the
mean
Giants
like a
were there
lot of
for
these
a
teams
while.
Giants
haven't
went
been very
twice. Went
much,
twice.
but they've all been in the last 20 years. Falcons,
Yeah.
Panthers, Saints,
Mhm.
Bucks, Rams, Seahawks, Cards.
Yep.
I'm talking about teams that haven't in the NFC haven't been to the Super Bowl in the last 20 years, and it's just the Vikings,
Lions.
the Lions, and the Commanders. And the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's it. All the other teams. So that's
Yeah.
only 4
And the
teams
Cowboys
missing.
are in the playoffs all the time. They
Yeah,
just can't get
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And in other leagues, you have examples of dominance, like the Lakers and the Celtics, obviously, are the
Yeah.
most celebrated teams in the NBA. But you still get teams that will sneak into the championship every once in a while. Like the Suns hadn't been in forever
Yeah.
until a couple
The
years ago
Nuggets.
when they made the finals. The Nuggets got in there exactly like the
Happens
Thunder
in-
have been in a couple of times. They're a new team.
Yeah.
Happens
Like-
in baseball too. Like you
Right, yeah, the
have-
Cubs won
Yeah.
after like
Yeah.
100 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
yeah.
then the Nats won, the Braves won
Rangers.
after like a decent time. Rangers just won. I mean, all of
Yeah.
these teams beat the Texans or the
Yeah.
Astros.
You still got your
Astros are the
Yankees and your
Astros
Dodgers.
are the Patriots right now. of
Yeah.
the-
But what
of the
we're saying is that
baseball
like there's many more examples of teams like that sneaking in and pulling something
recently,
That's
yes,
very
but like it
wild.
was
Yeah.
it was Yankees hell for a long time.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
It makes me curious though, based on like this conversation, because out of all the major American sports, you would think that football would be naturally conducive to the most variance, right?
It's
Because
actually
there's-
it's baseball apparently. Apparently baseball's
Yeah.
the most random, which is weird
Huh.
because they play 7 games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, they play
Yeah.
so many games, and I mean, how many people are on a baseball team? Like 20?
Oh god,
Yeah.
so many with the practice squad and like it's
Oh
yeah,
well,
players
true.
matter,
Yeah,
like-
yeah. But I mean, but NFL has the biggest teams by far, right? It's like
Hmm.
52 game day roster, and then
Yeah.
like 90 in the off season, and like they have the 10 on the practice squad too. That can be anybody now.
Mhm.
Yeah, apparently
So-
MLB teams have 40 players on the
40
expanded
players.
roster. Yeah.
Interesting. Does that include their AA or no?
Hold on, I'm looking into it. The expanded roster is that includes the reserve players. Okay, so their active roster is 26 people.
26. Okay. Yeah. So like maybe less than or maybe about half of the NFL game day roster, which I mean, I don't know, like maybe this is a faulty assumption, but I would think that you would have more variance in who's going to be winning rather than the dominance of the AFC in the past,
Yeah, I agree. No, like a more team-oriented sport, I think, should introduce more parity just by default.
Right.
And
Right.
that's why you would expect more dominance in the NBA. But there's not really like the AFC is just an anomaly. It feels like in every respect. It's like no matter what perspective we put on it, there's just not a lot of explaining besides just like, oh, it's Brady and Manning. That's just they're just two guys that just take over. But they only can have so much control. It just still feels wild that there's been so much consistent dominance from a select few for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And there's always
is
always
odd.
like some dominant teams. Like the 90s is like Cowboys, 49ers, and like, it's like there's always gonna be some dominant team, but it's like to the extent of which
Yeah.
they like just how the Patriots just did it for so long. Just like
Yeah.
20 years of just like always being like at least at 9 wins or
Yeah.
more.
Always
And
being in
and
the
it-
championship.
Yeah, and always
It
the
does suck
championship.
to transition into another team doing that. It would have been
Yeah.
nice. We were all like,
Yeah.
the demon is gone. He went to Tampa Bay and fucked us a little bit more, but
Yep.
now he's gone. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, now you have the Chiefs.
And then he
Yep.
ruined my shit over the NFC. Piece of shit. That's what are you gonna do?
Man.
Anyway,
Mhm,
I just want
mhm.
my one NFC Super Bowl, and then we can go back to our just making.
You know what? The AFC reminds me of Smash. There's like a
Yeah.
couple of gods, and then everyone else is
Well,
in
that's
a
to be
different
fair,
class.
that's old Smash. New Smash has been a lot more. There's a lot of good players now.
That is good.
The time of the
It's still
gods
not
in
as good as
Smash
Melee.
ended like 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, but it's still not as good as Melee.
No,
Well-
I'm talking about Melee.
Oh, really? Oh, dude,
Yeah, no,
the
Time of
gods are dead.
is
And
long gone. Yeah,
oh,
you
God is
have-
dead.
Yeah, you have like I don't remember any of their names. There's just a lot of new players. Like I think Cody's like a Fox player. He's like the best player right now or something. And then this isn't a Smash podcast, but basically,
Smash fans are lighting up right now. Though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
yeah.
the era of the gods, fucking Armada, Mango,
Mhm.
Mewtwo King, HBox, PPMD. They're literally like only Mango and HBox are still
Those dudes are
around.
like 30 now, man. They can't
Yeah,
play-
they're
play-
old.
play
Yeah,
Smash
they
shit
don't have
before.
the-
Come
the
on.
Twitch skills anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this doesn't involve Smash. Sorry, but
Oh shit! Come on.
That's the more fun to talk about these shit.
The-
Three guys talk about
Yeah.
Smash.
I
Come
wanted to
on.
see the
I mean,
last
with
time
it.
2 quarterbacks played in a Super Bowl that weren't like people that we know very well. And it
Yeah.
would be probably Brad Johnson versus Rich Gannon in 2002.
Dude, even
Yeah.
that
Who?
though is like Rich Gannon. Everyone knows Rich
Yeah.
Gannon.
And then
Yeah.
a couple years before that, in 2000, we had Trent Dilfer versus Kerry Collins, a
Oh, there you
classic.
go.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah. But outside of that,
Matchup for the ages.
you at least have like Tom Brady in one. You have like Roethlisberger, Hasselbeck,
Mhm.
like
Who
Peyton
do you
Manning,
guys?
Kurt Warner,
if,
Aaron Rodgers.
if we sat Mahomes and Purdy down in front of Smash Melee, who do you think's coming out on top? Like,
Oh,
because I'm pretty sure it's Purdy.
I don't know.
Really?
You know what? I think it
Well,
might
you
be
have
Mahomes.
Mahomes, is,
Actually,
like, I feel like I
Really?
don't know. Being a little bit older might be a benefit just because Smash, is kind of an older game now.
True,
Although
true.
Mhm.
Purdy seems like
And-
he doesn't play video games.
really
Yeah,
does
like
not.
Purdy seems like the kind of guy that's had to work through the weekends to
Well,
get,
Purdy's
a,
from
get a
Purdy's
shot.
from is Purdy from Cali? Or is that no? That's
Maybe?
Goff. It was Goff.
Yeah, Goff's from
Oh,
Cali.
okay.
Goff was from Cali, so Goff would probably trash them both in Smash.
Oh, dude, Purdy played for Iowa State. Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna tell me
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going to college in Iowa and he's not playing video
He's
games?
working on
What
the,
the
That's
fuck
a
else
good
is
he's working
point,
on the
actually.
farm, dude.
He's
working on the farm.
man. Come on.
The farm work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, we had the Lions 49ers game where the 49ers held up the NFC North tradition of shitting yourself in a championship game. And it was great to see.
Yep.
It was actually terrible to see. I wanted them to win, but it was great to see someone else do it. It wasn't the Packers. This actually gave me Seahawks flashbacks of how bad they choked it away. Like, it was.
I can't believe they choked it. That's
I
just...
need
I
to get out in
can.
front of the people who are obnoxious and being dumb about the fourth down decisions. Like, I will concede that there was the one where they could have kicked a field goal, and but it would have been like a long field goal, and they went for it, and it was like 4th and like 3 or 4, so it wasn't like a
4th
super
and
easy
3,
one.
yeah. Well,
Like that one I feel like was more 50-50, and like
So the thing is with that one though, they passed on 3rd and 1, and
Yeah.
then and then got 4th and 3. So it's like if you know this is
the
4
play
downs,
call could have been better for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. If you know this is 4 downs, then run it on 3rd and 1 because
Yeah.
you know you're gonna throw it on 4th. So
I think. I mean, Dan Campbell's probably like, okay, well, that's what they're going to expect us. Like, he's going to expect me to go for it on 4th down, so he's going to expect for me to run on 3rd down, so I'm going to pass.
inconceivable.
It was
Yeah.
it was literally that.
Mhm.
But what's annoying is that the 4th down before that, like straight up, I think that was a game-winning decision to go for it on 4th down, and that it was like 4th and 2. They'd run a pass play, and Reynolds just fucking drops it. He just
Yeah.
drops it. Like
Yeah.
Goff laid a pretty good pass out. It was super catchable, 100%, and Reynolds just fucking dropped it. And that I maintain if he catches that ball, the game's over. I think that they probably continue and score either a field goal or a touchdown, and the game is out of reach for the Niners from that point on. So I think those 4th down calls were fine. I don't know why people are giving Campbell shit. It's what he's done all year, and
Yeah.
you
That's why they're
can-
there.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's why they're there, and it's what we've all been saying is just more fun to watch. It's
Yep.
more fun,
Yeah.
and straight up, like, stop trying to like all these bullshit media narratives. You just want to watch punts and field goals all day? Is that all you want to watch?
Yeah.
Your fucking obnoxious criticisms and fears are exactly why we have to watch a team punt on like 4th and inches. Like remember like the fucking early 2000s when like teams would just punt like or they'd kick a field
Yeah.
goal on 4th and inches and
Yeah,
let
yeah.
inside the 30 or some
Yep.
shit.
Yeah,
Like,
4th
how
down going for it
miserable
was like
that?
so
That's
taboo
very
back then.
miserable.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. This new version is
It's more fun,
yeah,
and I think
it's more
it's-
than welcome.
And,
And again,
truthfully,
these were the
it's
right
not.
calls.
The Niners scored 17 in the 3rd and 10 in the 4th. It's not because of the 4th downs that that they
it was
lost.
a
It's the
random ass
defense. Yeah.
fumble that happened
Yeah.
as well. Like,
And
look,
the
Niners should
insane
feel-
catch.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
the Brandon
intercepted.
Ayuk
Yeah.
catch! Oh my god!
Yeah. that was
I
insane.
said the Niners should be fucking blessed that they're in the Super Bowl. Like both of these games, they needed some insane things to go their way because they did not play up to their skill level, and yet they won both of these games. So
Yeah.
if you're a Niners fan, you should be thanking RNG because that's what got you here. I'm sorry, but Brock Purdy did not play well enough to win either of those games. You needed so much help, and you
I
got
would,
the help. So good on you.
I feel like 49ers fans would admit to that, man. Like they
I don't
must be
know.
aware
People keep
of-
giving me shit for shitting on Brock Purdy still,
I
but
would
like he did not
say-
play good in either of these games.
I'm gonna say similar to what you were saying last time or last game that I'm definitely gonna be rooting for the Niners in this game because one, the Chiefs are definitely the villain, and two, look, at the very least, the Brock Purdy storyline is pretty good. I mean, he's literally
I
Mr. Irrelevant,
I
and
would
if
agree
he
with
wins,
you. if
Yeah.
it wasn't so fucking annoying. I don't hate Brock Purdy.
That's
I'm
the only reason.
it's so annoying how people overblow and over exaggerate everything in the NFL. And so when it comes to
Yeah.
something like this, it just pisses me off. I want to enjoy Brock Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant Super Bowl MVP. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
someone asked
In his
me like
first year starting.
Yeah.
yeah. And so like someone asked me like, oh, if he won the Super Bowl, would you, I think this was like in week 7, or like, oh, if he won the Super Bowl, would you like let off? I'd be like, yeah, I would. But guess what? Since he's had 2 bad games now in the playoffs, or I guess average to bad games, like he didn't play
Average games.
awful
Yeah,
a
no,
couple
he
days
didn't- he
ago,
didn't-
but he didn't
yeah.
play good. And he
Yeah,
threw
he
an
didn't-
interception
wasn't the
and
reason they
another
won.
one that should have been intercepted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but like
I was gonna say that the big factor here that isn't very RNG is that Christian McCaffrey
Yeah.
is carrying this team.
Oh,
like,
he's a
hard.
100%.
monster.
I was just about to make that point. Yeah, McCaffrey is putting this team on his back,
Mhm.
and like this is should be a conversation we're having right now about how fucking good CMC is. Like,
yeah, he really is.
MVP
He should have been the MVP.
Was that was the conversation we've been having for fucking
Yeah.
weeks now.
Yeah.
And he's just proving his case over and over. He's so good. It's ridiculous.
And he
It
seems to be
continues to surprise me.
he's the linchpin too, right? Like he like for them, the Niners have been good for the past several years with Shanahan, right? Like
Mhm.
he's been able to get them, he's been able to get teams that are bad to the playoffs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or to good records. But like once they got CMC, it's like automatic. This is one of the strongest teams in the league, and he continues to prove why, like you're saying.
For like 2 or 3 years there, where we're calling them the Carolina McCaffreys, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of truth to that, dude. Like this
Mhm.
guy can just be the whole offense.
I mean, if they don't have him for either of these games, Packers or Lions, they
Yeah.
lose the game.
Yeah.
Like Packers, he had 98 yards on 17 carries, 2 touchdowns, and he had 30 yards on 7 catches. In the Lions game, 20 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 42 yards on 4 catches. Like, dude
he's a
is
monster.
He's
He's
over the last
so
2
good,
weeks.
he makes me not want to freak out about how good Debo Samuel is for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
he's
saying something.
he's-
And again, the Ayuk catch. I mean, that
was
we-
insane.
And
like, we
Brandon
didn't even
Ayuk,
fully-
Jesus, this
It was
team-
insane.
That catch was just
How has this team
absurd.
almost lost twice? I like.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
God damn, man, they're
well,
so good.
one was to the up and coming powerhouse dynasty Green Bay Packers. So it was
Sure,
just,
yeah, right,
right.
yeah,
Uh,
of course.
yeah, the other was the Lions shit themselves. Like it was
Yeah.
24-7. They're up by 3 scores. Like,
But that
3
doesn't
scores.
explain like this 49ers team should be dominating. This offense should be on fire. So now that makes me sort of side more with the Purdy should be expected to be able to slot into this role conversation. But like, I don't know. I'm still kind
I'll
of with
have
Rob.
my narratives. I'll have them. I told you I closed the book. I closed with it. It's done. My narratives are
understand.
complete.
Yeah.
From what I've
But, like,
watched,
I mean,
It's-
hey,
He's Mr. Irrelevant, man. Like,
Yeah.
Did you know that though?
The
Did you know he's
storyline
Mr. Irrelevant?
seems fairy tale, but
Yeah.
it's
He probably played basketball too.
I
At this
bet.
point.
Yeah.
It's just like I watched him play that game. Like I think he's good, but I don't think
Yeah.
he's amazing. Like he had some really good throws. He had some insane throws, but then he also had some terrible throws. Like
Yeah,
okay,
really
well, what
bad.
I look.
In
I would
both
actually
games,
even-
he should
Yeah.
have fucking had these passes intercepted, and the Packers kept whoop, dropped it. And in the
Yep.
in the Lions game, he's like, "Oh, hit my helmet, whoopsie."
I mean, I'm not saying it's 1-to-1, and I hesitate to even make this comparison because it's still ultimately a comparison when I do it, even though that's not my intention.
Mhm.
Tom Brady in his first 3 Super Bowls was not very good. If you go back and you look at his even just his stat line in those games, he was carried completely by that Patriots team. Remember, before Tom Brady had his dominant run, the Patriots were already pretty good. They had Drew Bledsoe, who was a Pro Bowl, All Pro QB. Like I think he just won MVP like a year or 2 before that, and his really Bill Belichick's incredible defense carried that team all the way through for those first couple Super
All right,
Bowls.
let's take away all these players. We'll give him Julian Edelman and some sticks and mud, and
Yeah.
we'll see if he wins a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, now,
I
yeah.
mean, just imagine if you swap quarterback. Like if you put Mahomes on the 49ers and Purdy on the
Oh my
Chiefs, it's
God.
like it's a blowout, right? Like
It's
Probably, yeah.
disgusting to think about.
Yeah.
It's disgusting to think about.
Well, I mean, that is
So-
what Mahomes had early. Remember those first
Right,
Chiefs
yeah,
teams
yeah.
were
And he
fucking
won
the
monstrous.
Super Bowl. That's what happened,
Yeah, they were
Okay, so what
monstrous.
I think we can land on though, and this feels safe to say, is that what Purdy's done, given his draft position, is impressive.
yes,
very impressive.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
And that's all that
we
There's
just-
no,
that-
there's
that's
no
it.
doubt.
That's all it has to be.
yeah,
No,
That-
no
and,
one,
and that's
no
where the
one
narrative
has
should
done
end,
that,
but
yeah.
instead he's like an MVP finalist.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
when he's literally
I
he's handing the ball off to the actual MVP.
Exactly.
Should be.
I mean, look, okay.
One
I
last
think-
case. One
I
last
think
one.
you,
One
I think you
last
guys
fight.
are generally. I think it's fair what you're saying. However, I think you're really underselling how well he actually did this year in his first fully starting year. Right? He had almost 70% completion percentage, 69.4, nice, 4,200 or 4,280 passing yards
Yep.
with 31 TDs to 11 picks. He also had
QBR of 113.
QBR of 113,
Mhm.
and he also ran the ball 144 yards with 2 touchdowns. You know,
That's a great year.
That is an excellent year. That is a veteran QB year right there, is what that is. And he is essentially like a rookie, or and he's really in his second year, which is, I mean, on its own, like that. If he wasn't even Mr. Irrelevant, like if this was like a first round pick, like if this was what Trey Lance's stats were, it would be like amazing.
If this was Trey Lance, that would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if this was Trey Lance's stats, you'd be like, wow, they hit really well on that first round pick.
Yeah.
But it is the last pick in the draft, so I just, you know,
That's a good point.
So
like, yes,
here's-
he's on a great team, but there were other guys on that same team that he beat out, and he's now going to the Super Bowl as a result.
Counterpoint.
So
Counterpoint.
you know, okay.
What
Take
are
the
Brock
floor.
Purdy's statistics compared to CJ Stroud? And why isn't CJ Stroud in the running for MVP if his stats are very similar?
Oh well, I know why. The real reason for that is because they didn't win anything. So if CJ Stroud went farther in the playoffs, then he would have been in the conversation.
Well,
but-
but the MVP
64
voting is ended before the playoffs even start.
It doesn't matter. It
The wins
literally
do factor.
the wings
For sure.
absolutely
But
matter.
But
That's
my
just-
point
that's-
is that like not counting
okay,
the fact
but
that
let's take
like,
a look. Let's take a look then. CJ Stroud 1-to-1. He has a lower completion percentage at 63.9%. He has less yards at 4,108.
by
he's got
100
l-
yards. That's the
Okay, sure.
100
He's
yards
got
less.
by 100 yards, sure. And then he has far fewer TDs because it's Brock Purdy's 31 to CJ Stroud's 23. He has less interceptions at only 5, which is nice.
compared to
but,
11.
Yep, sure. But let's see what his rushing is, because
And
probably
very
better.
similar yards. per
No,
attempt,
similar
too.
in rushing too. It's 167 to 3 TDs. So
Yep.
pretty much every category, Brock Purdy beats him out.
but not by much. And
Not by
CJ
huge amounts and a
Stroud,
lot. Yeah.
What does he have on his team compared to Brock Purdy on his team?
I mean, look, I agree with you. I'm just, but if we're talking about like MVP voting, it's.
I'm just
it's
saying
wins.
that
That's
CJ Stroud has remarkably similar stats. The only
Yeah.
significantly different one is the touchdowns stat, and it's only by 8, and that's the most significant difference.
And CJ
CJ
Stroud's the
Stroud-
number 2 pick overall.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
He's
but I'm
supposed
just saying,
to do
okay,
something
regardless
like
of-
that.
Regardless of, we're past when they were picked. All right, these are just the players.
No,
just the
I think
players.
that's a very pertinent point for Brock
I think
Purdy.
that's-
and why
I think
that
it's
story
for a
is-
different
point.
argument, though.
Yeah.
I think that's a different argument. Like, I don't think you get MVP just because you were drafted lower, right? We're just
I
talking
think the
about
narrative.
like MVP.
No, I'm telling you, I think the narrative plays into it, man. Like
does.
that, it
and I'm
has
saying
to.
that's the problem.
I mean,
I
don't know.
agree, but it
I don't think
happens.
Look, I actually don't even think it's that big of a problem in this case, because how many Mr. Irrelevants have been relevant at all in the NFL? let alone
Yeah.
Right,
a
so we
starting
could- we could
QB for
easily
a team
point
that's going to the Super
to
Bowl.
Tom Brady, who was not
Yeah,
Mr. Irrelevant,
and
but
that's what-
drafted very, very low.
And that's
Yeah.
what, and that was a storyline with him for a very long time. You know,
We were even
for
talking
the
about
whole
how they're
year.
looking
Yeah.
for the next Brady style narrative. This is it.
Mhm. And this is absolutely it. And it's
the
honestly
underdog
like,
story everyone loves to root for.
But I don't
it's
think
even
you
more
can play it up
underdoggy.
before it's happened yet. I mean, he's
well,
not.
he's
watching it
already done
happen,
it.
man.
Yeah, he's already
For
done it. He
one,
doesn't have
no.
to. He doesn't have to win the Super Bowl yet. I mean, it would be an incredible thing for the NFL storyline wise if he did.
Yeah.
But like, he's already proven that he is far and away a starting QB in the NFL. That means 32 teams passed on him 6 times, you know, before the Niners actually finally got him at the end. So that's, so actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
that
like
means
a
every
starting
team 7
quarterback
times.
doesn't, tie into being MVP.
Yeah, I really want to bring this back to less about where he's drafted and more about MVP, most valuable player.
So like
Which
that's
is
your
what
big thing you're
I-
pushing
I-
here.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that, you know, if we're looking at stats, I bring up CJ Stroud because it's very similar, and CJ Stroud had a remarkably worse offense to work with and still put
Yeah.
up almost the same numbers. If we put Mahomes on San Francisco, what are his numbers like, you know?
I
yeah, he'd
agree
be a
that Purdy
monster.
should not be in the MVP conversation. That
Yeah.
I completely agree with. I still land firmly in the camp of he has blown away our expectations and is outperforming by a mile.
I
Yeah.
also just wonder what we would be talking about now if these games didn't go this way. If they did lose to the Packers, if the Packers
Then he
didn't
wouldn't be in the
throw a bunch of
conversation.
interceptions,
Not at all.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
He
and
wouldn't-
that's-
he wouldn't be
and
in the
that's
conversation, that's
one
the truth.
Play, like if one play goes, if that interception doesn't get
Dude,
dropped,
that's what
and
it
the
comes
Packers
down
win
to,
that
man.
game,
Yeah.
Imagine
we're
the
suddenly
fucking-
having a
That's always how
entirely
it is
different-
with the MVP. That's
Imagine
that's the thing. It's
Brady
every game.
actually
That's
fumbled the
stupid.
ball on the tuck rule. His entire fucking career
Yeah.
changes because of one play.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what happens, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. So with MVP, I always just like to do the comparison of like, okay, you have your team, right? You're the 49ers, you're the Bill, whoever, and you're like, all right, do you want Brock Purdy or Patrick Mahomes? Everybody's going to take Patrick Mahomes. So already that should be
course.
like, all right, he's ahead of him in the MVP rate. Would you rather have Brock Purdy or Lamar Jackson? You probably take Lamar Jackson,
100%. Yeah.
right? So like, if you just go through that,
You take
It's-
any established QB that has proven to be elite before him, but the fact that you're going to elite QBs, I think,
But
is
that would
also
make
telling.
him
I would take
MVP.
CJ Stroud over Brock Purdy too.
I would too, actually.
Would you?
I would
Okay, that's
100% take.
I would take
CJ
CJ
Stroud
I
over
think
Stroud.
we
Brock Purdy.
found the line then. Yeah, that's where
I'm
we
not
need
lying.
to
I'd take
establish
Jordan
where
Love.
we're at.
I mean,
I would
again,
take Jordan
see-
Love right now over Brock Purdy on the Packers.
I mean, again, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, for both of those ones, for me, it's like CJ Stroud has had 1 year, and it
Yep.
looks really good. I mean, it looks like he's going to be a record breaker type of guy. But I also have watched RG3. I've watched Andrew Luck over the years. I watched, that doesn't necessarily the same thing with Brock
Injury
Purdy.
is
Brock
hard to
Purdy
predict,
has,
though.
well, injury is one
I think
thing, but even
anyone can get exploded like knee and then they're done forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, but Andrew Luck, that case, or even a couple other guys. I mean, there are guys like, you can even look at like Phillip Rivers, right? Like or Drew Brees only got 1 Super Bowl ring.
I would take them over Brock Purdy too.
Well, yeah, of course, of course you would. I'm just, but like I guess I partially just don't get why the specific hate towards Brock Purdy, because it's just a good
because
storyline to me. It's just
because I don't think a good storyline is worth overshadowing someone like CMC, who is having a year that is just like the best that you can have at that position, and yet we're looking at quarterbacks because quarterbacks.
I feel
Well,
like that's
I
also
do already
something we
agree.
all agree on is the fact
Yeah.
that CMC
Yeah, but
should
like,
be
and
the
I think
MVP.
that whole quarterback magic thing that happens is what's elevating Brock Purdy higher than where he actually should be.
I think it's
Well,
also
in
just part
people's
of why we're
minds.
hearing so much more about it.
Yeah,
So
and
no,
it's like,
definitely is.
yes, but that's also not his fault,
No,
right?
it's
Like
not.
it's like
I'm not mad at Brock
it's
Purdy.
just QBs. Like
I'll tell you
that's
100%. I ain't mad at Brock Purdy.
yeah, no. Well, I mean, it's just like I do like we all agree. I think on the MVP thing, it should mean what the thing says, which is most valuable player.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that. It's most valuable QB.
Mhm.
And again, actually, if you were looking at QBs this year, in every meaningful stat, top Brock Purdy's top 5. So it's one of those things like if we're accepting the fact that the MVP is pretty much a QB award, then I think it's actually perfectly fair to put him in the conversation there, especially with their success in the playoffs. There are only 2 people who threw more touchdowns than him: Jordan Love and Dak Prescott.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
That's
dude.
weird that Jordan Love is
But even
on that list.
It is,
Yeah.
but
Because Jordan Love had like a pretty bad start to the season. So man, that's
in fact, if you compare C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, and Jordan Love, he's actually like right there. Like
Yeah,
the
sure,
turnaround.
And
he
Jordan
had is
Love, I
insane.
think, had a great year.
I think that
That's the-
speaks a lot
I-
more to how good Jordan Love is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
Yeah,
I
a
was
detriment to
not
either of
on the
those
Jordan Love
quarterbacks.
train, and I was like, man, yeah, he's not that good. Like on like week 6, and then suddenly he was
Yep.
like, nah, man, like that ain't
I got
me.
this shit.
And then
Yeah.
he turned into fucking next Green Bay Packers quarterback, brother.
You gotta love it.
And I completely agree. I think Jordan Love had a fantastic year, and he's definitely the star of the future for the Packers.
To like
And-
wrap up the conversation, like
Mm.
I think that like for Brock Purdy, I don't know where he's gonna be. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I don't think Bryce Young is gonna be like a starting quarterback in 5 years, which definitely I think a hot
Possible.
take.
Yeah.
I cannot place where Brock Purdy is gonna be in 5 years. I don't know, because this to me is a weird situation, and I think I've watched him play, and I see like a guy who can make good decisions, and I value that more than like the Josh Allen, I'm gonna throw it 80 yards down the field and my guy's gonna go catch it kind of deal. Even though that's more fun to watch. But like, is he gonna be able to make the next step from like where I think we all agree he's good. Like some of us think he's more good than others, but like I think we're all like,
I mean,
he's
top
above
5 in every
he's a-
category is hard to argue with.
like one of the best offenses ever fucking
So
seeing the
what?
field.
So is everybody who's been good.
But I'm
like
just saying,
Tom
we all-
Brady's best years had what's his face? What's the tall guy?
We all agree
Randy
he's
Moss.
above.
Tall
He's
guy,
above 5
you
out of
know.
10.
Good old
We
Paul
all agree
guy.
he's above 5 out of 10. Some of us say 6. Some of us say 9. So maybe someone says 10. But like we're all on that upper half.
Yeah.
And I think any quarterback who's that good and also young can get better.
Yeah.
Can get
Yeah.
better, but will, who knows? I don't think there's a good.
I do think there's a lot of factors going into. Like, I think coaching is probably one of the biggest underrated
Yeah.
factors. Like, he's the Shanahan. Like,
Do you think Mahomes
system
would be
and
as good
everything.
as he is if he didn't go to the Chiefs with Andy Reid
No.
and sit behind what's his face, Alex Smith for 2 years or whatever he did?
I think he'd
You know,
be good.
like it's
I think he'd be
Yeah,
great.
I think it's hard to say because Mahomes' goodness is like very unique. I think the way like he has like I don't know, dude.
Like, if
May-
Mahomes
maybe-
went to the Bears,
I think it's the Travis
Yeah, I
Kelce
don't
thing,
think-
honestly. Like I don't think it's him sitting behind like a
well,
big
they
coach
had
as much as
Travis
it is
Kelce.
like
they
they gave
had
him
Tyreek
the
Hill,
best tight end of
they
all
had-
time, and he formed this magical bond between him and Kelsey that is just unbreakable. So I don't know.
Well, again, that's right now, but when he was first there, that was Alex Smith's playoff team, right? Like that was already a team that was in the playoffs year over year with Andy Reid and Alex Smith. They had Tyreek Hill, they had Travis Kelce, they had one of the best running games in football. They had and still do have one of the best offensive lines in football. Like that team was stacked as shit. And and that was, they had that for a couple of years. And
Well,
Pat
and
Mahomes
then
was
they-
also a first round pick.
And they took it away, and Mahomes is still winning Super Bowls. So when we take
Yeah.
away Brock Purdy's toys, if he still wins a Super Bowl, I will eat shit on Twitch.tv.
There it
You
is.
probably get pretty mad.
all right, we're moving on from Brock Purdy. This game ended, and everybody wanted the Lions except 49er people. And then, okay.
Yeah.
Also, Jared Goff.
Oh, boy.
By the way, Jared Goff this game said, abruptly cuts off question on Skip Bayless. Quote, don't care about anything he says. Anything those guys say on daytime TV, you can skip over that.
Oh, you tell him, Jared.
I love to hear it.
Go
That is
love to
pretty
hear
in,
it.
dude.
Yeah.
Then the dude, this is actually crazy. The realest thing you'll hear a coach admit. Lions head coach Dan Campbell told his locker room this might have been their only shot obviously doesn't believe that, but he says it'll be twice as difficult next year. You're not hiding anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is going to be harder now that people have seen a whole season of this
Hmm.
and them winning with it.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those things. 'Cause you're always like, all right, we got it here. We'll be back. And then look at the Bengals. Like
Mhm.
they
It
haven't.
takes
Look
one
at the
injury.
Bills.
Yeah,
one
the
injury and
Bills.
your whole season's dead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's I mean, it is me with the Packers in 2010. I was like, dude, one Super Bowl, we'll be back. Never again.
Mhm.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never
yeah.
again. So, you don't know. You gotta make the most of your opportunities.
Mhm.
And
Fuck you,
that's
Reynolds. Sorry, I know he's a dude. He's probably fine, but like I'm still so mad he dropped those passes, dude.
Yeah.
yeah. So the Super Bowl. I don't think we got any power rankings this week.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think
you
it's
know.
just Niners. Everyone was saying Niners is
Yeah.
1, Chiefs is 2. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems likely.
So pick 'em stats.
There
Pick 'ems there.
Pick the final pick'ems.
Yeah.
The final
Right.
pick'ems. It's just pick 'em.
Let's pick
Oh
'em.
yeah, pick 'em.
It's true. It's true.
Pick 'em.
Pick 'em week.
So this week we had I went 2-1, Rob went 2-1, Bear went 1-2, Apollo 2-2 with his double lock, Randy 2-1,
Still call
Discord
bullshit.
0-4, and
Mhm.
Ooh.
Chris went 2-1.
Oof.
I go to Discord and double locking. You're welcome.
That was that was bold.
rough.
Champion of championships. Randy's the only winning. The arrow's blocking this thing. Winning something.
The only one.
The only one with a winning record predicting conference championship games. 5-3. Everyone
Wow.
else, Apollo 6-6, Bear 7-8, Rob 6-12, Sinvicta 5-10, Krendor 5-12, Discord
Ah.
3-11.
Discord is 3-11 at predicting the
That's
championship
wild.
games.
That
nuts.
is actually wild.
That
Why
is
does
pretty
that
wild.
happen?
To be
And
fair, I'm
what?
also
There's
down
a lot
there.
of upsets, man.
You know, I think part of it too is a part of our records being bad is every year we we bet on
Well, we
we
determine
want
who
the
our
thing to
villains
happen.
are, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
and it never
I meme
happens.
the shit out of the playoff picks. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not actually
Yeah.
picking who I think is gonna win necessarily.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
one of those wins I got from picking the 49ers, so I didn't want to win.
Yeah,
But I was like, they'll
yeah.
probably win.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
Ranton and Raven. Bears now 0-2 and locking the Ravens in the playoffs, and 2-7 predicting them overall. They're his
Yeah.
second worst predicted team in the playoffs behind the Titans 0-6.
Oh my
Oh,
god! Holy
ouch.
shit.
That's pretty bad. Can't
Yikes.
teach
Sucks.
an old dog new picks.
That's
I
good.
get it.
That's good.
Man.
Solid.
Apollo's gone 7-6 in the playoffs both years he's picked, both 10-8 with locks. He's currently 6-6 this year and is 2-0 predicting the Super Bowls in his career.
Oh no,
I'm
you're
wrong.
predicting
Oh,
the
God.
Chiefs.
Damn
You
it.
son of a bitch.
Well, I don't always pick the team I want to win. Remember?
That's
Oh,
true.
That's true. Yeah.
Bridging the gap. This season, Krendor is the best at predicting interconference games. 55-25, 69 nice percent. He also has the best career record at 284, 139, and 367%. Look at that.
How strange.
That's
That is
really
weird.
good.
Yeah. I don't know why.
You're just extremely good at picking the interconference games.
And bad at
Sorry,
everything
I was
else.
Yeah, I didn't want to shit on you with the second
Yeah, no,
part of
it's
that. But...
And then he's
I was
like, "Oh,
hoping you
my
would pull
Packers
top
will
there.
win this one for sure."
Yeah.
Yeah. And an expected journey.
Yeah.
During
Nice,
the
yeah.
regular season, the 49ers and Chiefs were the two most picked teams. 49ers 98, Chiefs 93. The 49ers received more locks, but also more locks against.
Yep. That is actually a very disappointing stat considering what the. So we all knew the entire
We all
time. it was
knew,
gonna
yeah.
be
We
this.
all
knew
knew.
how
Yeah.
this was gonna
Accept
go.
We
Yeah.
all
Yep.
knew. Man.
It's what can you do? Again, like I said, it's the time for when you can't enjoy it, you got to go full villain, and then there's no losing.
This is the most depressing pick'ems I think we've had in a long time.
For the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Probably the early years would have been bad too. Although I don't know.
We had
there were
Chiefs
the weird ones,
49ers
right?
like 4 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
before the Chiefs were evil.
That's true.
Yeah,
that was back.
they were
That
good.
was Mahomes' first
woo.
one, so
Yeah.
we were all like, Mahomes, yeah.
They
we
were starting
Yeah.
to turn heel, I think, right about that moment.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
rooting for Mahomes at that time.
Yeah, I was
Were
rooting
you?
for
All
him.
right.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, I still root for Mahomes.
Well,
Just
how-
gave out.
We'll see.
I think Discord's trying to tell us to wrap it up.
Mahomes is on my shit list. Before I was like, I don't dislike Mahomes, but the narrative is annoying. Now I'm like, nah, Mahomes is annoying too, man. That whole offsides thing from that
The offsides
game.
thing was pretty annoying.
He's a
That dude is
Yeah.
always crying about calls, like, what the fuck, refs? What the hell, man?
Yeah,
Nah,
Tom
dude,
Brady
yeah,
come
it's-
again.
It's worse than Tom Brady, dude. He's like,
I don't know, man. He had 20 years of screaming and crying
was
on the
bad.
sideline.
Yeah,
Brady was a
tossing
liar, for
surface
sure.
tablets and whining. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll pick.
yeah.
Pick'ems.
All right.
Hey. Thanks to our
woo.
assistant coach this week for joining us in the Pick'ems. Hey,
Welcome.
Super excited. Big shout out to
yeah.
Cyber Shinjuku for their support over on the Patreon page. We do appreciate that quite a bit. Thank you for your
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
over on patreon.com. You can search for Three Guys and Barry. You can click the link in the YouTube description below. Go become an assistant coach. We'll feature your picks next season. Whoa. Pick 'em.
And
Cyber Shin has
they
locked the 49ers.
Yeah, they locked the 49ers. They're also 12-7 predicting the 49ers and 11-9 predicting the Chiefs. So a little
Interesting.
better with the 49ers.
Better at the
Interesting.
49ers. Although I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, I think the Discord's going to pick the Niners because they don't want the villain to win.
Yeah.
And I'm not even excited. I can't even feign enthusiasm, man. This fucking sucks.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I would have hated the Super Bowl, but I think the Taylor Swift aspect actually adds something to it. I'm actually happy about it.
Dude, and don't forget, this is the Nickelodeon Super Bowl. This is the
Oh,
one
yeah.
where we can watch SpongeBob
saved my
commentating.
You just
Season.
saved the
Yep.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
Oh, man. I'm so
Yep.
excited.
Oh,
I
man.
forgot.
That is going to be incredible. It's
Oh, this is gonna be
SpongeBob
the best.
commentating. I think Larry the Lobster or whoever his name
Oh,
is
yeah.
is the play-by-play.
I'll play
Oh,
Um,
man. There was no
SpongeBob's
bad
color.
ending after all. There was always a good ending waiting around the corner.
Yeah.
Ready to surprise
And we're going to
you.
have a new MVP after this
Oh,
game.
Yes.
man.
And then
Oh, you
when
finally
Taylor
made me
Swift,
so happy, Robert.
when Taylor Swift does like the trophy, they'll probably like slime her.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, she'll hate that.
Yeah, I feel like that.
That'll be really inconvenient for her.
Then it'll just be like Patrick being like Taylor Swift is slime. That'll be funny.
Patrick Mahomes is a Pokemon trainer with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Yeah.
So yeah,
What are you guys picking, man? Who fucking cares?
I don't
But,
know.
go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
I
take.
guess.
I'm just gonna take the Chiefs. I'm gonna
Sure.
lock the Chiefs.
Whatever. Go ahead.
I'm gonna
Can I-
lock the Niners because I think at the very least this would be more fun if the Niners win. And
In
Yeah.
fact, you know what?
Nice.
I'm locking the Chiefs because the 49ers have ruined my fun for my team more often than the Chiefs have.
yeah, that's
Can I-
fair.
Can
Yeah.
I pick Usher? Can I lock
You
Usher?
could.
I mean,
Sure.
maybe.
I'm locking Usher,
Let's
baby.
go.
Rocking
Oh,
Usher.
I love
baby.
I'm locking Usher. Let's go.
Can I pick the 1985
Chicago Bears?
Miami
Heat?
Dolphins.
No,
Oh,
Miami
Miami
Heat.
Heat. Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
1985 Miami Heat. I would like to select
Do you
to
want to
win
change
this
your
year's
pick
Super
now,
Bowl.
Rob, based on our picks?
I mean, I feel bad for Pixelhaven, to be honest. You're asking for lots of graphics for the final.
I'm also not sure the Miami Heat existed in 1985.
That might
I don't
have-
know.
yeah, it might be
No,
true.
They
They
were
did.
founded in 1988. I want the expansion 1988 Miami Heat
All right.
roster for
No,
this year's Super Bowl.
You want
That's
the
fine.
1985 Miami Heat, which is just the conceptual idea in a billionaire's head.
Yes,
Well, were they-
100%.
were they a
Okay,
different-
the idea of the Miami Heat, I have chosen to
You know what?
win
I'm
this
gonna-
year's Super Bowl.
and I'm just gonna lock instead of the Chiefs, I'll lock the Patrick talking about Taylor Swift.
Ooh, yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
lock-
that conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I
Patrick
will lock?
Star will
Yep.
talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Okay,
I'm
I
gonna-
like
Great
it. All
lock.
right.
That's a good
Yes.
lock.
That's a solid lock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock the Super Bowl ceremony that we mentioned earlier. That is absolutely
You're gonna okay.
happen.
Rob is locking a proposal from Travis Kelce to Taylor Swift. while
Yep.
with the
accepting-
Super Bowl ring. With the
Yeah,
Super
it's
Bowl
gotta
ring.
be the Super Bowl ring.
Mhm.
All right, I think we did good here, guys. We
Yep.
turned this
Yeah,
around.
that's
We
solid.
did this one
Turn it
around.
around.
That was
great
I like
I think a
it.
lot
Yeah.
better now.
But
real proud of
we
that.
need Randy to lock.
Randy.
Randy.
Somehow my lock was like the most like likely. Starting out, I was like, "Well, this is ridiculous," but now I'm like, "No, I think I got a pretty good shot with this one."
I don't know, man.
Randy.
I think Krendor's luck is pretty spot on. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I-
Patrick's
yeah.
about to mention some Taylor Swift.
I think he will. Randy's locking the Chiefs.
Oh, fuck
Of
you,
course.
Randy.
Fuck you, Randy.
Yeah.
A bitch, always counterlocking me to the last game.
Yeah.
Well,
Especially now. How's that even
Yeah.
possible?
that'll do it for this great
There
week
we
of
go.
football podcasting. Yay.
Hey guys, only a couple months to the draft.
Yeah, off season. Off season.
It's the Jets Super Bowl in the off season.
Patrons.
Bro, it's the Steelers Super Bowl now too. I ain't got
Yeah.
nothing to look forward to besides
I've
that.
got
Yeah,
we're
baby.
at Packers Super Bowl. This is like we're super rebuilding with our new defensive coordinator, the defense. That's what we need.
Thanks for listening to the show this year. Make sure to tell all
Yeah.
your friends. Make sure to find an awkward way to
We got
integrate
patrons.
our
mean,
niche
we'll be-
football
check
show
out
with
the
the
patrons.
conversation
We'll be-
with
we'll
your
be-
as,
relatives.
as an aside
Super
too,
Bowl
before
show.
we leave, are we gonna do live Super
Nope.
Bowl this year again?
No.
no,
Nope.
You don't want to do that?
I don't
No.
want to do
I don't
that
wanna
because I
watch it.
I
don't.
don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
I'm just gonna be watching Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'll be doing.
yeah.
Probably
no,
just
Let's
chilling.
live tweet the Nickelodeon Super
Yeah, I'll
Bowl.
live tweet the
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. I'll do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I would have watched it if it was like I cared about it, but
Yeah,
thanks for listening,
Thanks for
watching,
watching.
everybody.
There's
We'll
also going to be a
see ya
Super Bowl show like Apollo. Yeah, but thanks for watching.
next
See you next week.
time. Bye-bye.
Bye.